Well, what to do when the left thumb hurts? The poor thumb is the one finger alone which has to be the counterbalance of all the other fingers. 1, 2, 3 and 4. No wonder it can get sore. It has to cope as a single finger with the overpressure of all 4 other fingers. But many players play for hours on end and it doesn't hurt. So something has gone wrong. There is a simple reason why most people push too hard. When we started, the cello posture was unusual. The required pressure is in a way we have never used the fingers in our everyday life. Therefore, we all pushed as hard as we could. Well, in our brain is not recorded what the real pressure was, but with which effort we pushed, usually with all our might. Then, by growing up, muscles got stronger. The pressure increased immensely beyond being useful. And even if we started late, our brain still recorded that we have to push with all our effort. Our muscles had to learn the direction of pressure like learning to walk. And soon it was much too much. What we need to do now is finding out how much we need to push and not more. I suggest this simple exercise to reduce finger pressure, and by doing that, avoiding pain in the thumb. What I do now is testing to reduce pressure in each single finger, because the thumb hurts because it is the counter finger of all of them. I start with 1. So I go to first position and touch with 1 first. It's in tune. Okay. 2 light, just to touch the string so lightly that it only whistles when I play and doesn't give a clear note. Now I gradually apply pressure bit by bit. Then we will come to a point and it sounds clear. Well, this pressure is enough. And probably you will be surprised. But keep in mind the feeling and test it for a few days. Exactly in the same way. Start with not enough. And there it is. Now I go to the second finger. Like usually, I leave 1 on and then add 2. First, I don't push. The first finger I don't push enough. Then with the 2, I let it whistle again. And now add bit by bit until it sounds well. For most, the second finger is even more a surprise. It needs much less pressure than usually applied. The second finger is usually the main reason for the pain in the thumb. He often pushes like crazy, doesn't need to, and the poor thumb has to counterbalance it. And now we go to 3. It's often too much as well. And then I go to 4. And don't forget, when we play 4, as you see, 1, 2, 3 don't need to push full power, but they are best just on the right spot prepared to play and hold the string a bit down. And otherwise, little 4 has to push the whole string down. But 1, 2, 3 should not push hard. I might mention, your vibrato will improve if the fingers don't push too hard. But just enough. Also, the intonation will improve. If a finger out of tune doesn't freeze with overpressure, but is prepared to shift quickly to the better in tune spot. Like if you go fourth position, like I corrected it. No. Oh, it's out of tune. And we can't go there because the finger pushes so hard. So if you play lighter, we can correct quickly. I might mention that the famous cellist Pablo Casals was once asked why he never plays out of tune. And he burst out laughing and said, I play all the time out of tune. And the interviewer said, I've never heard it. And he said, I'm very good in correcting quickly. And that means he doesn't push too hard. Well, we need to check regularly if we again push too hard, because it happens without us really noticing. And when you did push too hard and noticed here in this exercise you pushed too hard, wait 2 weeks and you push again too hard. So why not every beginning of the term testing if our thumb might be starting to hurt again and go through the exercise. Now I come to some really misleading concepts of the left hand, which contribute to pain as well. The left hand sits straight, in a straight line on the string in a posture we don't experience with any tool in everyday life. Like if you take the hand away, it's a position which you don't use with anything else except an instrument. However, some try to draw comparisons to things and tools as if it would be similar, although it's not, because people just love comparisons. I've even heard it's like holding a hammer, like you hold a cello, but you hold a cello different. And others say it's like holding an orange or an apple, like something round like an arch. But you don't hold a cello like this. You would play on different strings, you don't have a straight line, you can't stretch. When I make an arch with the hand, like this, and the knuckles are bent like here, just try to extend the fingers. It doesn't work. It grinds a bit on the edge of the bones by fighting nature, but it will certainly not stretch properly, and the effort to push will be much harder. To have the hand actually working properly with the stretch, we need to have the knuckles here straight, and except the fourth finger, it has to be a straight line, except, as I say, the fourth finger. But if you have a big hand, even the fourth finger can be straight. And now to the second part, the thumb itself. What is the best posture for the thumb? Many are taught that the thumb needs to be bent. It comes partly from these comparisons, which have nothing to do with the cello. But the main reason is many beginners push the thumb in so strong, so one remedy is that they push less when the thumb is bent. At the very beginning, it helps actually a bit. Apart from this reason, there's no reason. Even if it might be better for the very beginning, in the long run, the bent thumbs push actually harder. If you watch your hand without the cello, then you can see it is a tense hand compared to if you have the thumb straight. The thumb is lightest if not placed in the middle of the thumb pad, but on the tip, pointing virtually backwards from the fingerboard. Like if you have here the hand and you don't play with the thumb here in the middle, but you go to the tip. And when I turn to my cello position, then the thumb is virtually facing backwards. When playing on the A string, the first to third finger should form a straight line from the elbow to the knuckle. The arm is virtually just hanging down, like here on this picture of Rostropovich. Also, the first and fourth finger can play quite flat on the string. 2 or 3 are standing more upright, but it doesn't need to be 100% upright. On the lower strings, allow the fingers to touch the upper string, except in double stops, which is 1 out of 5,000 times or something. The don't touch the other strings posture makes the hand very tense and reduces stretchability, reduces the ability to correct single fingers. It's virtually impossible to correct 2 to 3 in order to play exactly in tune, or even 3 and 4, like you need to be able to move 2 and 3. If they're upright here, they are locked in and the intonation is suffering. Also, these bent knuckles, which make it hard to stretch, they aggravate muscle tension and can cause arthritis pain and stiffness when you get older. Just allow the arm lower, allow to touch the other strings. I might mention one other thing which has not to do with the playing but with the setup of the cello. The higher the strings are from the fingerboards, the more pressure we need, and it can be too much for our hand. particular with cheaper cellos, is often not looked well after the setup. The distance of the strings where the first finger is in first position should not be more 2 or 3 millimeters. That's all. And in the fourth position, it should not be more than sort of 6 or 7 millimeters. If it's a centimeter distance or more, it is too hard to play, and that aggravates the pain in the thumb as well. Well, I hope that will help. See you again for next lesson or the next cello issue video. And goodbye for now.